Hmm. Uh-huh. Yeah, can you hear me? Oh, yeah. Okay. Oh, yeah. That's because 'cause I'm the most important voice. Oh, yeah. Yeah, yeah. No, my camera may not be on. Give me a second. Uh, oh, you are such a charmer.
we live? Yes, indeed. We are live. We are live indeed. There's something about being live, my dear brother. I have in the studio joining me today the inimitable Mr. Jay Haram. How are you, Jay?
I am fantastic. Thank you for having me, Oscar. Oh, man.
Hey, man. It's not every day somebody comes on that has a voice smoother than me. I'm already getting voice envy right now.
Not even close. Not even close. But I appreciate you saying that. I do appreciate you saying that, and I'm gonna sit a little straighter.
There we go. Well, that's a good look. So this is the Natural Nation Network, folks. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I am privileged and honored, and Jay, this is going to be a treat for you. I promise you, my dear friend. We have on with us today a lady that has launched a pretty amazing initiative, because what she did was took the science as well as the common sense, earthy approach to getting people to understand what is really happening with the COVID virus. And I've been enjoying this series. Suffice it to say, naturopath, practitioner, hypnotherapist, accomplished, incredible musician of all things. Hello, Miss Jean Ricks. How are you doing? How are you?
I'm doing really well. Is it my imagination? Are we all wearing yellow? Did we all get the memo this morning?
That's right. We did get the memo. We are. Well, there's something beautiful about the fall, and yellow is one of those colors, right? That the leaves sprout. So I think it's apropos for the season. And all those folks that, like, I don't know if they do this up north, Gene, but people don't wear white after a certain time. Like have you heard this? Like, you're not supposed
I've heard of it, but that never really made sense to me, because when we were growing up, we didn't have school clothes and this clothes and that clothes. You just had clothes. Yeah. Wear it. If it's clean, wear it.
Exactly. And don't complain.
Right?
Well, in my case, I was the little brother, and my big brother, who could beat me up, he was only like 16 months older than me. But I always got the brown shirt, and he got the blue shirt, and I hated that. I grew up wearing brown all the time. Maybe I don't wear it now. But anyway, enough of that. Gene, we're here to talk about greater matters than the color of our shirts when we were 8 years old, being traumatized by our older brother. No. Okay, I digress. But you have been doing this amazing series, Gene, and I want to really circle back on the COVID virus. And I know there's a lot of substantive information that you've shared with our audience in the last interview we did. Today, I wanted to kind of talk about that a little bit, but I wanted to maybe see if we could talk about the context of the stress surrounding this virus, and see if you can help unpack all of this for us.
Yeah, we're looking at 3 levels of stress. There's the stress of the potential of becoming infected. There's the stress of being quarantined and in with either loved ones or by yourself, when you don't want to be. And then there's the financial stress. Let's talk about the economy, your own personal finances. It's 3 levels of stress, and it's consistent stress. It's not just passing. It's what we call chronic. It's actually continuing stress, and it's just wears down your immune system just from having that kind of consistent, ongoing stress. A lot of people aren't sleeping well. There's also the Rona weight gain. We've heard about that.
Rona weight gain, is that the official title? The Rona weight gain?
Yeah, the Rona weight. Got
Yes.
that Rona weight.
Yes.
So it's causing all kinds of it's exacerbating any kind of if you had some mental some stress already, it's exacerbating it.
Yes. So there's a lot going on, and you're mentioning the psychological and emotional impacts to people. From your perspective, what's the greatest impact out of these different ones you just enumerated?
It's the underlying thing for all of them is uncertainty. We don't know how long this thing is going to last. We don't know our own, health, et cetera. Underlying all of it is uncertainty, and that's untenable. You can't keep being uncertain for that long. That to me is the base of everything.
Mm, interesting. Okay, so let, let me. I'm gonna bring my man Jay into this conversation because you just hit something that I want to dive deeper on, but I want to engage you a little bit. When it comes to uncertainty, when it comes to those moments where you're just not sure what's really going on, what do you use as the best coping mechanism for that?
Personally,
Yeah. Yeah.
I have no idea. I have no idea. No, no, no. And that's the thing. I have no idea what I use as the best coping mechanism because some days I do this and some days I do that. And one day this is gonna make me feel better. One day doing something else, being outside is gonna make me feel better. Whereas one day I'm gonna have to shut myself off from things
Yeah.
and I'll feel better. So I don't think there is necessarily a best.
S-
And I think she's absolutely right with probably the most impactful being uncertainty because the devil I know is always better than the devil I don't. But we're surrounded by what we don't
We're
know.
surrounded by some unknown devils.
We are in that right now. We just
Yeah.
don't know, and
Yeah.
that it's taxing.
Yeah.
It's taxing on everybody.
Absolutely. So that's a great sort of metaphor to kind of tag this particular piece. So Gene, what about this devil we don't know? How do we deal with uncertainty? What is the best and most effective mechanisms to do that?
Well, I think you're seeing it in when you hear about the productivity rates going up for people who are working from home. That's not just because they're dedicated workers.
Yeah, yeah,
It's because you do the thing that you know you can control. I can control this. You know what I mean? I've got this. This little piece, I could do this. I don't know what's going on over there, but I can do this.
yes,
And I do that myself. When things get uncertain for me, okay, don't laugh. I clean. Oh my God, this place is
damn.
spotless.
I want to invite you to my house now. Okay.
This place is spotless because I can control. I can control that kind of thing. Now, people are also finding themselves preoccupied with Netflix and with watching the news. And I would encourage you to step back from that constant onslaught of news because, yeah, you have the time, but it's just filling you with those negative images. It's just going to raise the anxiety, raise it, raise it, raise it, because all they're talking about is more uncertainty. They've got no certainty about anything. So yeah, in these times, we tend to, or what we should do is lean into those things that we actually can control, right?
Yes, yes. Well, I love what you're saying there, and it's how they say sometimes there's nothing new under the sun, but if we think about what they have come to know as the Serenity Prayer, where they say, God, help us control the things that we can and accept the things we cannot change.
Having the wisdom to know the difference.
Exactly, and have the wisdom to know the difference.
Right.
That's the critical phrase in that whole thing. Like that's the linchpin, right?
Exactly.
Like because I think we're under this delusion that we can really change anything that's happening at some national level. And maybe I'm a bit of a critic in that I'm not saying I just did a voter drive. I believe in the process, but how do you really get a handle on things that you cannot change? That's the big question.
Like I said, we have to focus in on what we can. That's why I encourage meditation, breathing techniques, because even if you don't recognize that you're under stress, because we get a normalcy bias towards being stressed. That tension actually makes some people feel secure because they do feel that tension. You
Mhm.
get people, and I know you know some that purposely are like late for appointments or that kind of thing. They need that buzz, they need that adrenaline buzz. Same thing with the tension. Sometimes we cause ourselves to hold tension because we don't recognize what it's like to not have it. So I encourage deep breathing techniques, taking some time to just for 2 minutes, just stop yourself and tune into the body, try to find out what's going on just for a couple of minutes. And you'll find that you do have tension, and you'll find that you can relax yourself. And that's going to help boost your immune system. When you relax all of that crap going on in the back of your mind, that's going to help.
So you're hitting some spot on points, and folks, those of you listening, just know that when you're under stress, your body's producing adrenaline, and when it starts pumping adrenaline, the brain doesn't know that you're not being chased by a leopard. It just is doing what it does. Correct. It's reacting to stress, even though stress is something we created. And that, I love that you said that, Gene, and I wanted to have you define it a little bit, but I just want to make this point to the public. But I want you to define this idea of stress and where it comes from. But we're producing adrenaline. Adrenaline produces cortisol. Cortisol is an immunosuppressant. It starts suppressing our immune system and ultimately compromising our health. And that's how stress ultimately leads to disease. But this idea, Gene, that you brought up, I love the way you phrased it. And folks, I'm going to shamelessly plug this amazing woman and her incredible series, Behind the Mask, because some of what she covers is so common sense, but it gives you a different way of thinking about it. So, Gene, you were talking about stress before, and you were mentioning that stress is something we created, a word we created, right? So give us about 3 minutes, unpack that for us.
Well, I remind this of my client. I tell them about it because recreational chewing is something we take for granted. When you're chewing gum, right? You know you're chewing gum. Sometimes you're chewing that gum, that flavor's already gone, and you're still chewing that gum. Well, your brain doesn't know that that's gum. That it doesn't have a concept of recreational chewing. Your brain thinks that you are at an incredible banquet, and you keep sending it signals that you need more juices, you need more saliva to help you digest all this wonderful food. The brain doesn't know that it's just gum. Consequently, you're ruining your digestion when you chew gum, because now all those digestive juices have nothing to do except, well, ruin your stomach lining. Assuming, and unless you're doing it after you've had a large meal. So stress is like that in the sense that your brain doesn't have this concept, this middle ground, this gray area that we have given it a name, calling it stress. The brain and the body have only evolved to know crisis, non-crisis, danger, non-danger. There's no, it's one or the other. And when you're in danger, your body goes into survival mode, right? Your body thinks that you need energy to run, right? So that's when it raises your blood pressure. You're in survival mode. Now, maybe you just got a text or a phone call, right? That you weren't expecting. Let's say it's Tom, and Tom has you all pissed off because there's some work yet, and you look at that phone, and for that instant you go, crap, Tom. Well, now in your brain, it's now equated Tom with danger, not with, oh crap. No, it's with danger. So now when you see that phone call, your blood pressure goes up just a little bit because it's anticipating some crap coming from Tom, right? Yeah. And it also dumps triglycerides into your bloodstream because it thinks you need fat. You need energy to run. So it's going to dump triglycerides. It's going to give you cravings for sugar and fat. This is what stress does. It gives you cravings for sugar and fat. It also, in terms of actually using that insulin, right, that extra blood glucose, it ruins your ability to burn off that to use that blood glucose. Why? Because you're in survival mode. You're not in restore and repair mode. That's the mode when you're not under stress. Remember, danger, non-danger. No, you are in survival mode. So it turns off your digestion. So now your digestion is ruined, but you've got cravings for sugar and fat. So you're going to take care of that, aren't you? Yeah. But your digestion is ruined. And at the same time, you don't sleep as well because, again, you got all this going on. And it turns off your sex drive as well because there's no time for making whoopee if you're running away from a tiger.
Wait, now you just hit below the belt. Now all the guys
Quite
finally
literally
started paying attention just now. Well, you know what? I'm loving this conversation, and I hope and I know our audience is going to benefit a lot from really connecting to it. Let's take a quick break. You are listening to the Natural Nation Network here on Edge Radio. We're with Gene Ricks and with my man Jay Haram. We'll be back in just a moment.
Are you a small business owner concerned about the downturn in the economy? Top business leaders like Mattress Mac and Warren Buffett will tell you that now is the time to promote your business more than ever. People need your services. Your business needs an edge. Learn about special advertising packages for small businesses right here on Edge Radio. Find out more, give us a call at 281-744-0446. That's 281-744-0446. Edge, because truth still matters.
Okay.
And we are back. You are listening to the Natural Nation Network here on the Edge Radio. Edge Radio, located at 415 West Gray. This is a premier location for individuals to come out to enjoy live shows as well as to enjoy great food. And folks, I do want to invite you to save the date on this particular day. You will have a fabulous date night. You can invite your spouse out. Will not be expensive because it's going to be free. We will be having a jazz festival, Jazz Fall Festival with Ray Ryan. She will be out on Friday, October 30th. So I want to invite you guys out. It'll start at 7 p.m. You'll have a great night of happy hour specials and drinks. And you'll get to hang out with the Edge Radio crew. So we will be in the house.
Absolutely.
And I love it when that happens. So you want to hang out. You want to see world-class fun, great jazz. You got to hang out with the Edge Radio crew. Last time it was off the chain, and I don't doubt that it will be again. The only thing is cameras are always rolling. We got to be careful. All right, so Ms. Gene Ricks, thank you for joining us. Gene is out in New York City. I am envious because, Gene, right around this time in the year is my absolute favorite time, especially where you live in the upstate New York area, because the trees must be setting off some incredible colors right now.
Absolutely beautiful. Yeah, this time of year is.
I love it. I absolutely love it. So just before the break, we were unpacking something, and you provided us with some very, very clever analogies around stress. This idea that we don't recognize stress as stress is something that our brain doesn't understand the definition of. It knows danger, no danger. It's like a gate system. It's either open or shut. And because we are living in this dystopic society right now, and that's the only thing I can term it. And I like is I want to say a cluster beep 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 beep. So Gene, what's happening? I mean, what is this? What is going on right now? Jay, what do you guys think? What is this?
Gene?
Again, it's and because it's worldwide, that makes it all the more insidious, because you can't get away from it in any form. It's affecting every aspect of your life. There's absolutely no aspect that is not touched by this. Um, I know that in Europe now they're having increased levels of COVID, and people have what's called pandemic fatigue.
Mm.
So officials are trying to tell them, hey, stay in, go back. And people are like, I'm good. And they are.
So, Jean, I want to jump in there for just 1 second and ask you a question, because this is personal. And I'm going to ask a friend of mine who's maybe not watching now, but I'm going to ask her to watch. Just took a COVID test yesterday, just got a negative. She was very relieved. But she has spent since February all this time in her house, has not left her house, has not come out. She can work from home. She makes a nice living and never has to move out. She can get all her food delivered. And so she just goes out maybe to walk the dog and come back in the house. Tell us what is wrong with that picture.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. Here's the thing, and this is actually, it goes to why I got it so severely. I had it for 24 days, 24 days. That's including the pneumonia portion of it that lasted for 8 days. But here's the thing. The reason I got it so severely is because I never get sick. I mean, never. Can't remember the last time I was sick before COVID hit me like a ton of bricks. And the reason for that is, like her, I have little exposure. I do workshops, and I'll go to people's workplaces and do the workshops, or I'll have a client come in, I'll get some exposure that way. And of course, I go to the grocery store, that kind of stuff. But in the big picture, that's really nominal exposure. That's a couple of hours here and there. Because of that, because I've never get sick, I hadn't had a recent version of a coronavirus, a corona flu virus. Why is that important? They're estimating that about 50% of people, between 20 and 50%, will have a natural immunity to this novel COVID-19 virus, even though it's novel, even though this is the first time it's been here. And they have it because they've had a coronavirus in the past. This allows another version of the coronavirus. Yeah. This allows your immune system to have, if you will, a jump start on understanding what it needs to do for COVID, right? And so in that instance, your T cell count will be much higher. Your T cell count will go in there and it'll identify infected cells and take care of them. So you'll have a mild version or you'll have an asymptomatic version. But my point is, you need some exposure to all the crap around us. You need to let that kid pick that piece of candy up occasionally off the ground. And you know what I mean? Your kids need exposure to germs. You need exposure to germs. It's how your immune system builds its encyclopedia so that it knows what to work with, so that it has some groundwork. It can go, oh, that's that.
That's brilliant. So you could have had Corona 14 instead of Corona 19, and maybe Corona 16 too, But that gave your body the information to download the necessary viral software to defend against that pathogen, is what you're saying.
Exactly.
That's
Now,
awesome.
There's a brand new study that just came out of Italy that I'm so excited about because it focused on those B cells. Those are the ones that make the antibodies in like the billions, antibodies. And our testing here in the United States in terms of building a vaccine is based on antibodies. Well, in Italy, they did a test. They had some patients come in who had a genetic predisposition to not be able to make antibodies. It's got a long name. I can't really remember the disease name, but I can send you the report. Anyway, so they could not make antibodies. B cells not functioning, but they recovered from COVID-19 because their T cells presumably took over and took care of the disease. The T cells, they don't look at what kind of infection you have. They just see infected cells and start taking care of them.
And the T is for Terminator. They're like, I'll be back. So they will hurt you. So what were you going to say just now, Jay?
No. And I think it's Jean was saying that she never gets sick prior to the COVID thing. She never gets sick, and that probably played a part in her getting as bad as she did with the COVID. And at the same time, I never get sick. That's just something I don't do for some awesome reason. But the weird thing is, right at the beginning of 2020, I was in New York, which had a really bad outbreak, and That was before. Stop it.
You were at ground zero,
Yeah.
just like Gene.
So I was in ground zero, and that was before anything was really said about it.
Correct.
So I was going around, I was talking to people, I was licking doorknobs,
You were licking doorknobs.
all the stuff that you do when you're in New York, you know.
Eat pizza, lick doorknobs.
Exactly.
Okay.
You know, the gum on the rails down to the subway. You taste everyone to see if anyone.
No, that's not that's not normal, Jay.
But
Yeah.
but after that, I was at Mardi Gras.
Oh, you really were in ground zero. So you went from Mardi Gras. You went to 2 hot spots in a row.
Yes.
So did you have ill effects from this?
Not a
whole thing?
one.
Okay.
Not
So you might have been asymptomatic. You could have been a super spreader, Jay. you went from New York to New Orleans. You could have been ground freaking zero in January, man. Because that's when the hell broke loose in Louisiana in February,
No,
right
I
after
know.
Mardi Gras.
I know. And if asymptomatic,
I didn't know this about
then
you.
asymptomatic because we
Yeah.
didn't know anything. So
Of course.
I wasn't sick.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm walking around.
So
But
that's
no one around me got
Yeah.
sick.
no, but you bring up some interesting stuff because I got sick in January. I never get sick. I mean, I think we could join this party. We all had something going on. I heard people as early as November, December. My kids were coughing up loogies in December. I'm like, what the heck is going on with you? Have you all picked up heavy smoking? I'm not aware of what is going on. So it sounds like, Gene, we were spreading this funky little virus in 2019 for real. Is that right?
Yep, that's about right. Yeah. And when you're asymptomatic, and the thing is, if you become symptomatic, you were shedding off virus germs really heavily the 2 to 3 days before you actually began to have a symptom. And yeah, you could have been a super spreader for 2 weeks. And after you had it, they still don't know how long after you've had it. There was a nurse who reported that she had stopped having symptoms for 14 days, so she went to get the test, and she was still testing positive. She'd had no symptoms, nothing, zero, nothing, and she was trying to get back to work. She's a nurse.
Mm-hmm.
She waited another 14 days, went back in, 28 days total, and she was still testing positive. So there's all kinds of crazy stuff with this.
So there's been some rumor that the test will yield false positives because essentially someone had Corona 1.6 instead of 1.9. Is that true? Have they gotten that figured out yet?
Absolutely. They have not, to my knowledge, at this point, they have not honed in on just exactly being able to test for COVID-19. They're just testing to see if you have any corona in the period.
Wow. So that's a little ridiculous because if you're testing that broad spectrum, you're going to get false positives all day long. And if you're getting false positives, the data is not accurate.
But that is how testing is. I mean, you look at pap smears, right? Is it pap smears or is it the other? That they do test for cancer, but they test for every kind of cancer.
Yeah.
And not every kind of cancer is malignant.
Right.
So that's just the way testing is. And I think it's kind of impossible. We ask science and the medical world to do these. Well, just look for this. There is no just for that.
Yeah.
There is the thing or not the thing.
Yeah.
So.
Well, you know, to the point Jay's making, science is a bit imprecise in that way. So, Gene, you advocate, and I'm an advocate of this too, and I know we've spoken offline about it, of weaponizing your body, because that's the only real thing you can control. When we come back to what can you control and what can't you control, you can stay in your house if you want, but you're going to get sick as a dog when you finally come back out. That's what that's what I'm hearing. And quite frankly, I've not stayed in my house even during COVID. I know some people might find that objectionable, but I happen to know about viromes, and I know that the germs in my house compared to the germs outside of my house are different, and my body needs to find an answer for that. So, Gene, what are some of the fixes? How do we weaponize our bodies?
You know, what I'm concerned about is that they're not telling people all the comorbidity issues, because it's not just COPD or asthma
Or
type 2
diabetes?
Yeah, it's not just that. It's obesity.
Okay.
Let's be real. If you are overweight, you are more likely to become to have a morbidity issue. You are more likely to die from it than you are if you have a normal BMI, normal weight. And they're not really emphasizing that because America is, I believe, at this point, 72% of the
Yeah,
population is.
exactly. Everybody. So the fat is normal. Fat is the new normal. So you're saying, and the comorbidities are higher. Is it higher when somebody's grossly obese
Oh, of
or
course.
moderately obese? I mean, is there differentiators there?
Yeah, absolutely. Because as you know, in the adipose tissue, the fat tissue,
Yeah.
it displaces your hormones. And for instance, vitamin D3 is a prohormone. It can't do its functioning properly when you have excess adipose tissue. Consequently, and also there's more acidity when you have when you're overweight. So now your immune system is just not going to function as rapidly or as efficiently.
Hmm. Hmm. Wow. Wow. And a lot of people are not clear on the fact that our immune system is largely located in our gut, in our
Mm.
stomach. Can you speak to that for just a moment so they understand that correlation?
Yeah, because I love that. So many people, it's like in your stomach. What? Well, first of all, they think of their stomach as being the intestines as being like inner tubes, just smooth little. They're not. They're not. They actually have villi. They actually your small intestine actually determines what's a toxin and what's a nutrient, so that it knows which one to let into your bloodstream that'll make you healthy, that'll give you energy, and which one to throw down to the lower intestine to go out of your body, right? So
Hmm.
your immune system has what's called probiotics. It has a balance of good bacteria to bad bacteria. When that small intestine gets confused, now your bad bacteria goes up and your good bacteria comes down. Why is that important? Because that good bacteria, those probiotics,
Hmm.
they actually create antibiotics. That's what their function is. You've heard of an antibiotic that your
Sure.
doctor prescribes
Like
those.
penicillin, right?
Exactly. Your body naturally makes antibiotics and it makes them for a very specific pathogen that you get exposed to. Whereas when you go to the doctor, you get a broad spectrum antibiotic and it kills off some stuff that you may not actually need killed.
Wow.
Whereas your body, your digestive, that probiotic, that good bacteria creates antibiotics to keep away parasites, viruses, bacteria. It is the central locus for all of the immune health that you have.
Wow. I love that. I love that. And folks, I hope you really caught the essence of what that is because you can go get an antibiotic at the doctor's, but what I'm hearing, Gene, is that an antibiotic is the machine gun approach. It's killing everything in your body. Now you don't have a defense against stuff that you'd normally be able to defend against. So now you can get sick from something else.
Exactly.
As opposed to a probiotic where you build your immunity. Now it's like a sharpshooter. It's like a surgical approach because it only attacks the pathogen that is affecting your body. Is that?
Exactly. And that's the big danger. You know, the people that go for those colon cleansings, that thing, oh,
Mm-hmm.
that's such a dangerous thing to do. First of all, the facility, no matter how clean it is, what does it do? What is it working with? Toxins and
You
all
can
day
say
long.
poop. You can say poop. Just say it. Just poop is a
But
four-letter
here's
word. Yeah.
but here's the thing: you are literally throwing away your entire immune system. That delicate balance of good bacteria, bad bacteria that your body's been working on. It's been crafting. You know.
So let me challenge that. Let me challenge that because there's people out there. So is it not an accurate statement to say that the lower intestine, the large intestine, will accumulate a large amount of fecal matter that needs to be extricated one way or another, and that's the value and benefit of colon cleansing?
No, eat a good diet. Your colon was designed. Let the original creator designed a system that works well when you help it. You don't want to go in there with a, like you said, machine gun. You're literally going in there with a machine gun. Now remember too that system was designed to go in one direction. Hello? And it's not a smooth inner tube. it's got little pockets, little, and as you're putting that water through there, some of that fecal matter that wouldn't have gotten caught in a side pocket can get now caught in a little. Do you see what I mean? It's not designed to have fluids coming in and flushing it out. It's designed in one direction, and it works very well in that direction when you eat some doggone vegetables. Hello? When you drink some water. When you keep the system moving.
But what if somebody is lacking peristalsis? Now, for folks, that's the caterpillar-like movement in the intestine. If they're lacking the peristalsis, then their body's not moving that fecal matter through.
Yeah, that's an extreme situation. I'm talking about the average person who decides, I'm going to go for coenzymes. It sounds like a great way to lose weight, and oh my God, yeah, you lose a little weight, but it's water. It's not what you're thinking. It's not from losing fat. You're not burning anything off. And then, yeah, I'm talking about the average person. You're talking about somebody that has a severe situation going on.
Ah, interesting, fascinating. So people now, we've been talking about the physical aspects of this virus and what you can do. Nutritionally, one of the things that you are a strong opponent of, and justifiably so, is sugar. Tie that in for us. Tell people why that's not a good thing, especially that's the narcotic of choice during stressful moments, right?
Of course it is. But it also goes with having too much protein as well. Both of them, which means eating too much meat or having too many of those protein shakes that people are addicted to now because they think, ooh, I'll do a protein shake instead of having a meal and then I won't gain weight. Your body can only use so much protein at one time. And when you exceed that amount, you're just having expensive urine and you're taxing your liver and kidneys. So protein is also another acidity marker, but sugar and protein, sugar and meat cause the body to be acidic. That's just a fact of nature. They take away any ability for your body to be alkaline. Mm-hmm. So when you're acidic, now your body has to deal with the acidity rather than having your immune system supported so that you can be healthy. Now your body is instead working with the acidity and you become inflamed. You get chronic inflammation. You may not notice that you're inflamed. There are some people, I tell them, if you're pressing on your skin and it just stays there, do you know what I mean? It just stays depressed?
Yeah. You're saggy. Yeah.
Well, you've got inflammation going on. Yeah. Chronic inflammation. Now, inflammation, you'll see it when you get a cut. You get the redness, you get the puffiness, might even feel warm to the touch. Well, you can have that chronic inflammation going on throughout the tissues in your body. And that happens from eating too much sugar and eating too much meat and protein. You get that inner inflammation, and now your body's immune system pretty much can't work. And it also causes autoimmune disease. That's how you get type 2 diabetes. That's how you get rheumatoid arthritis, Alzheimer's, all kinds of things coming from the constant chronic inflammation that you get from poor diet.
Yes. Wow. That's a lot. And those of you listening, I want to encourage you to think about a few things, because Jean, you are bringing out, it's always amazing to talk to you because you put a lot of things in perspective. But one of the things I used to do when I consulted with people on hair analysis was through their hair, I could see problems with their body. So I would see a common thing, which is Candida albicans, elevated levels of yeast. So folks, if you have tiredness, lethargy, bloating, acid reflux, a white coating on your tongue, all of those are indicators of Candida or yeast, which is a precursor to diabetes. So we've seen a correlation. So Jean, you've seen that as well in your studies, correct?
Absolutely. And what feeds the yeast?
Sugar.
What feeds bacteria and viruses?
Yes. So sugar is the gasoline on the proverbial fire, and
Absolutely.
People that are consuming it because it makes them feel better temporarily are actually putting themselves in peril because you're increasing oxidative stress, you're increasing adrenaline in the system to some extent, and that creates the cortisol. All of those things is what we might call the perfect storm. So Jean, this time flew by as always. It always does with you. It's always amazing to be able to speak with you. Tell folks a little bit about Behind the Mask, the series, and how they can connect to it.
Well, I decided to do this because I was frustrated by the lack of emphasis by the media on self-help, on self-empowerment, on strengthening, as you said, weaponizing your own immune system. This is your body is your first line of defense. And there are things that you can do to boost that immune system. So I created the Beyond the Mask series. The next event is October 19th. Please, 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 if you can, join me for that. 7 p.m. Eastern Time. The link for that is up there, tinyurl.com, Beyond the Mask 1. And what I'm teaching there, especially this week coming up on the 19th, I'm going to be talking about weight loss, how to get that Rona weight off, but also sugar addiction and some things that you can do to improve your sugar addiction, to get that back under control, and also nutrients, how to consider what to eat during this time or any time. I want to give you lifetime tools, not just tools for this period. This is important, but I want to give tools for a lifetime. So I talk about that and some supplementation, dietary supplements that also will help strengthen the immune system.
Wow. I have to tell you, I've enjoyed the series, and Jean is such an easy person to listen to.
Oh, yeah.
Like, she could read out of the yellow pages and you'd want to listen.
I agree.
She could
I
read
agree.
a
I'm a
grocery
fan.
list,
I'm a fan.
but more than that, and way, way beyond that, is the substance of the information. It is unequaled. And I am absolutely proud of that series, and to call you my friend, Jean Ricks.
Thank you.
I invite people to connect to Beyond the Mask. Once again, what is that URL? How do they get there?
Oh, it's simply tinyurl.com and then Beyond the Mask 1.
Beyond the Mask #1, correct?
Yes.
Awesome. Okay, folks, you heard it here. This has been an amazing conversation with Jean Ricks. Jean, thank you for joining us. Stay safe out there. We want to invite you in as a regular contributor. We love your brand of information, the simplicity, beauty, and elegance with which you express it. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Oscar. Thank you, Elaine.
And Mr. J. Haram, it has been a pleasure having
Always
you
a blast,
on board.
my brother. Always a blast, my brother. It was fantastic talking to both of you.
Awesome, awesome. We appreciate that, man.
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Yes, sir.
folks, you've been listening to the Natural Nation Network here on Edge Radio. Be sure to stay connected to the Edge throughout the day for education, entertainment, and information you absolutely, period, will not get anywhere else. Full stop. We love you, and there's nothing you can do about it. Stay safe, Houston, and the world. We'll be back tomorrow.
Beautiful. Thank you. Bye-bye. Thank you. Love you too.